the city for about 17 years now, and it started back when I was in what they called community relations at the time. We went to this thing called Talk with the Mayor, Tuesday Talk with the Mayor, and I was able to take notes as people talked to the mayor. And one of those sessions, there was some neighbors that come where there was a elderly lady who had a hoarding issue with their house, and so we actually worked with departments through the city and then outside the city with different agencies that helped befriend this lady and then convince her to let us help her with the house. And we ended up we didn't. Another agency tore down the house, built her a new house, and I really liked that. And so when I moved to code enforcement, and I was there for a little more than 10 years, we went on a lot of those were actually going to bad structures. And then towards the end of it, we had so many calls on homeless, rather they were encroaching on certain areas. So we dealt with the homeless a lot in that, and we always tried to help either guide them to what we did know. I didn't know a lot of the resources at that time, so it all started with that, and then I think they moved me here, so now I get to that is my job, is to actually reach out and help. So it's really been good.
What does an average day look like for you?
It definitely depends. I always hit the ground running. I have a lot of meetings. I have a lot of, there's always outreach every day. I'm either going somewhere or I'm communicating with them on the phone. I do have a lot of meetings and a lot of relationship building with the individuals as well as with all these resources.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the most common issues that you're seeing out on the streets, and some of the most common, stories that you're hearing?
A lot of the stories is affordable housing. That is a lot of the stories. A lot of these individuals have some kind of income coming in. I'm working with 2 right now that have full-time jobs. It's just to be able to come up with a deposit, not just on their rental unit, but their utilities and all that, and first month's rent. All of that is so hard. We have so many great agencies here, and they're able to help us with that. But the problem is there's not enough affordable housing that they can maintain housing with the amount of money that they make. And so affordable housing is probably the biggest barrier that we have right now.
Absolutely. And that kind of goes against the stigma of homelessness, which is that everybody's mentally ill, everybody's
Right.
on drugs. Do you want to talk about how your office is addressing the stigma of being homeless, but also there's kind of a stigma in the city around the way Johnson City handles it? I mean, you see the public works trucks filled with their tents and things like that. And does that make your job harder as far as building trust with homeless people in the community?
I don't think it does. They know that I am an ally, and that's what I'm out there trying to build on, is the relationships and knowing that I'm an ally. As far as the city, it's a juggling act. The city has to abide by the laws and the ordinances that we have. And as far as, and they have, the individuals have rights, the property owners have rights. So it's a juggling act, but we're out there to build those relationships and try to help, meet those individual needs. So that's where we're at right now.
Absolutely, and it is a juggling act.
Yes.
I'm sure it can be very, very difficult. I guess, sort of a tie-in, what do you think about the city's approach to homelessness, or of the state's? I mean, the state has that felony ban on public
Right.
camping. And how does that, again, I guess, circle back to the work that you do?
Right. I think the city of Johnson City has an excellent approach right now, because they're on the right track. They've created this position. It's a brand new position. They've created this position solely on the purpose of trying to help those individuals. And we have in this area some great resources. They just needed a middle guy, and I'm that middle guy. I try to go to the individuals and find out like their needs, because everybody, they're so different. You never know with each individual. And then we just try to line them up with the resources that they need. So the City of Johnson City, I think they're actually on a good track.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I know that's a big concern with people. I mean, I was in a work session they were doing about the growth management plan, and twice, the two biggest things on there of the concerns of citizens were homeless and homelessness.
Yes.
Which, of course, you combine it, it makes a massive.
Right.
So people are really worried about this. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that the outlook is good, and that
Yes.
you feel like the city's taking good steps. Let's circle back. What are some of the resources that your office is able to provide? How do you determine what a person needs, and then how do you hook them up to those needs?
The resources that they placed this position under the Johnson City Police Department, under community policing, which was fantastic because those guys already had really good relationships with a lot of the homeless in the area, and so I got to go out with them and build on those same relationships. And then they also were aware of more of the resources that I worked on a different level in code enforcement on different resources, whereas they had more personal need informational resources. And so I've worked with them and grew relationships with the homeless individuals along with those other resources. And so that's really been a huge help. That was probably my biggest step, was being able to work with community policing. And then as far as being able to build those resources, it's exactly that. You go to these individuals. Like, we walk the railroad tracks, the mountainsides, along the creeks, just anywhere that we think or hear of or could imagine that someone may be camping, then that's where we literally on foot go and try to find them, because not all the individuals come in for resources. So, I can meet them at certain areas where I know that they'll come in for their own resources, but a lot of these guys don't. I mean, the two that I'm working with right now that work full-time never come into town for those resources, but yet they're living in their cars. So, it's building on those relationships and letting them know, that we're here, and that and some of them don't know. They don't know these resources. The ones that don't come in especially. They know, I could go here and eat or something like that, but they had no idea of some of these resources that would help place them. And that's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're taking a very proactive approach to your
Yes.
job. You're not just sitting in your office hoping people come.
No, not at all.
What has it been like going to these homeless encampments and just walking these railroad tracks and looking for people?
Yeah, it's an eye opener when I get to actually talk to the individuals. I was used to walking the tracks and different things with code enforcement for other purposes, but with this position, it's an eye opener. You really, build those relationships, and these individuals, they're not all on drugs. They're not, and a lot of them do have some mental health issues, whether it's trauma or different things. But it is an eye opener. I mean, a lot of people I know do place homeless individuals in one category in their mind, and it's not. There's so many different reasons why they're here, and so if we can help them, if they want the help, we want to help them. So help them get into a place where they're safe and happy,
Absolutely, and that's so important. What is it, the ARC or ARCH is a homeless
ARCH,
count.
yes.
Are you involved with that at all? Do you help with that?
Yes.
What are the numbers that we're seeing? Are we seeing more homeless people?
I wished I could give you the numbers, but I checked on it just yesterday, and it just takes so much to compile it, and it is ARCH. And ARCH doesn't have those numbers yet. They're working on them, and hopefully we'll have them soon. And as far as if they're more or not, I don't know. I'm so new to this. But I was involved. We they helped train me at some of the resource areas, and so from there is where I went back onto the road, because I went to where I knew that individuals don't come to the resource areas. And so I got us some numbers through there. So I hope it's a good count. I don't know how, because if they don't want to participate, we can't write them down. If we approach an individual and ask them, and it doesn't take a lot of personal information on these, it's mainly for just knowledge of how many's out there. But if they ask not to be, then we don't count them. So it's not going to be exact, but I hope it's close.
Right, a good
idea,
educated guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about building these relationships. You said earlier that you didn't think the city's approach had affected you too much, that you were able to sort of build these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
When you first come upon a person, you're walking the railroad tracks and you find somebody, what does that look like? What happens from there?
First, I identify myself and let them know that I'm outreach. That's one of my first words is, hey, I'm outreach. And I just ask them, how they're doing. Do they need anything? If they have any goals, if they have any needs. A lot of times they have, animals, and they might, need something as simple as, a little bit of dog food or something. But there's really no other way to say it other than you truly talk to them and get to know them as an individual. I can't approach one person like I might the other. You just kind of feel if they're hesitant or if they're welcoming. And for the most part, they're very welcoming to talk to you. So it's just getting to know each one. So I guess it would be different on each camp that you went to or each site that you went to.
So how can, if somebody wants to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Well, I am trying to make myself extremely visible. I do. You have my information there. They could email me. They do. A lot of them have phones. A lot of them don't. So it depends. One of the main ways I try to be out there, because the ones that don't, or if they have a phone and they can't always keep service on it, I want to be able to be out there, and they know that I'm out there. And a lot of times, if I'm going to the day center, I'll try everywhere I go say, oh, I'm going to be at the day center around 3, or I just try to say to where, just in case they hear it or they'll tell someone, just any way I can get the word out is what we do. But it's mostly literally, word of mouth. It's because you're on the ground.
Is there an office or some other way that they can get in touch with you? If say they see the story and they're like, oh, I need to talk to that lady.
I hope that you guys put my information up on there, but we are in the process of moving downtown to a substation. And so we should be in the old parking garage, hopefully soon and permanently so that will help because we'll be located right downtown. But we're still in that process right now.
Right. So right now, I guess if somebody was to see, the email would be the best way to reach you. But also, you're around.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I'm in a city truck and I'm out there. So, yeah.
Okay, great. I think my last question is just, how do you like the job so far?
I really, really enjoy helping the individuals like that. I really enjoy helping them find those resources that they need, even if it's something like a wheelchair or some food for their animals, whatever the resource is. My ultimate goal is, to help them get permanent housing. That is our ultimate goal. I really enjoy it. I really do enjoy that. So.